Good morning, everyone. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about shifted conic sections. So they're pretty much the same as we did last time, where we had to first deal with a circle, an ellipse, sorry, a circle, parabola, an ellipse, and then a hyperbola. So all those videos that we're dealing with previously, say this here is a circle, they were all centered at x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. In other words, at the center. Okay. So if this is the center of the circle, that is why they were centered. So this was for the circle, and for the parabola, okay, it would be centered at x is equals to 0. That is to say here, okay. Then for, well, the orientation of the parabola can actually vary, of which is what we looked at first. So say it can be like this, it can be like that, or wherever it may be, but all in all, it used to be centered where? At x is equals to 0. It may be an ellipse, okay. So an ellipse looks somewhat like an oval. So this too was centered where? At x is equals to 0. The same goes for a hyperbola, where it would be centered at 0, whether like so or like so. So when we talk about shifted conic sections, they are pretty much the same, except this time they are shifted. So if it's a circle, it wouldn't be shifted here, but rather here, okay. If it's a parabola, I think you get the idea. Let's carry on from there. So let's excuse me, let's move on to this example. I believe it will make sense from there. So as we remember saying that the equation of a circle, okay, is x squared. Let me just zoom in a little bit. The equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared should be equal to what? R should be equal to r squared, okay. So these are centered at well, if you just see x and y, okay, with nothing attached to it, then you should know that all that there is that they're centered where? At x is equals to 0. But for those which are shifted, okay, they've got an x. It is, the formula is x minus h, we close, squared, then we say plus, just when we say y minus k, then we say squared, should be equal to r squared. So now this here is the formula of a shifted conic section. Now where exactly has this been shifted? Okay, say this here is your xy plane, yeah, and then you tend to move to your right, for example, that is to say for x, okay. Of course it would be centered here at x is equals to 0, but that's not what we do. Instead, we make this conic section shift, okay. So say this here is your circle, okay, it is located somewhere here at the origin. Now I want you to pay close attention to this, okay. From the center here, should we move up like that? That is the distance r, or should I say radius, okay, to some point on the surface of the circle. So let us create a triangle from there. So create dots here and dots there like that. So there's our triangle right there. So let's locate this center. So let's locate this center here. So to find this center, we're just moving to the right by a unit. Let's call it a, okay. Instead of x, let's call it a. So we move maybe 1 2 3 4 5. Then this here is what? This here is a, okay. Then what is this point? It is, then what is this point, or rather, how can we define this bottom space here? Let's call it x, okay. Let's call it x because it's at some point x, okay. So meaning, to define this bottom thing, we can say this bottom thing here is the whole thing, which is x, minus a, excluding this, meaning what we're going to remain with here is a dark spot. If you didn't get that, kindly play that again, because repeating it would be a waste of time. So we have our x minus a. That is to say, this here is what defines the bottom line right there. So with the same excuse me, idea, this here is the idea, okay. So assuming that, okay, they've given you some values, x minus h and y minus k, okay, then they want you to find where this conic section is located. For you to do so, all you have to do is this, okay, equate this to 0 and then solve for x. So this would be x minus h should be equal to 0. Then you say x is equals to h, okay. So meaning it is located at some point h. Okay, the same goes for this one right here. So if we want to find where it's located in the y-axis, we'd say y minus k should be equal to what? 0. This here is a minus. Then we saw for y. So this would be y is equals to what? Positive k. Okay. So meaning this conic section is then centered at h comma k. Okay, so this is where it is centered at. So let's just do an example under this. Okay. So our example says find the equation of a circle with its center at negative 3 comma 5, okay, and the radius of length 4 units. Now remember what the formula was. Okay, before I even write down the formula, because I think should you be able to solve it minus writing down the formulas, it means you've understood. So we said negative 3 comma 5, rather we said x comma y, that is to say x comma y. This is just when a conic section is centered where at x is equals to 0 comma when it's centered at 0 comma 0. Okay, but should it be x minus h, that would be centered somewhere. Okay, then what we're just from discussing there is that if it is located at negative 3 comma 5, then this is where it was located. Okay, so to find our I want to solve this without writing the equation. So meaning this is our x and this is our y. Okay, excuse me. So we say x is equals to negative 3 and y is equals to what? Positive 5. Let's then solve it backwards and let this side be a 0. Okay, so this will be x is equals to, no, rather this 3 goes to the other side. Okay, so this will be plus 3, the sign will change, then should be equal to 0. Okay, then the same goes for this. Okay, so this will be y minus 5. This 5 goes to the other side, should be equal to what? Should be equal to 0. So meaning our equation of the circle looks something like this. This will be x plus 3 squared and y minus 5 squared. Okay, so that would be a plus, should be equal to r squared. So this is it. Okay, now of course I didn't write down the equation, I just had to get back to this, but what's important here is that you've understood. Okay, then from here all that you have to do is expand it. Now before I expand, let me just now use the formula for you to get the idea. So we know saying that the formula is x minus h squared plus y minus what? K squared should be equal to r squared. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is this. The h, we've been told saying it's centered where? At x is equals to what? Negative 3, and x is equals to positive what? Positive 5. So this here is x, this here is y. This here is h, this here is k. Okay, so meaning this will be x minus, what is our h? Our h is negative 3. Okay, so this is just another method, but what's important is that you've understood instead of memorizing. Plus y minus, what is our k? Our k is positive 5 there, so minus 5 squared should be equal to r squared. So negative times negative, that would be a positive. So this here would be x plus 3, then we say squared, plus y minus 5, then we say squared, should be equal to r squared. Okay, yeah, so which, as you may see, this here is the same as this here. Sorry, yeah, it's the same as this here. Okay, what's important is that you've understood. So let's expand it, because what they're looking for is the equation. So this here is correct, except it's not simplified. Okay, yeah, so let's expand this. So to expand this here is x plus 3 in brackets, then we say squared. So if we say this is the same as x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, so what we're going to do now here is multiply this times this and this times this. Okay, then this times this and the same 3 times the other 3 there. So yeah, so x times x would be x squared, then x times 3, that would be plus 3x, and then we say 3 times x, that would be plus 3x, then 3 times 3, that would be plus 9. Okay, then as you may see here, these can be added in the middle. So this here is x squared plus 6x plus what? Plus 9. Now, to avoid this unnecessary procedure, I believe some of you by now would have known how to simplify this without writing down the entire procedure. If you just see x plus 3 or whatever it is, then it is squared. Okay, all that you can do is multiply the first, then you multiply you take the first value, which is x. Okay, let's call this the first value and let's call this the second. You take the first value, then you just you square it, then you say plus, then you say 2 times the multiplication of these two, x and 3. Okay, so that would be 2 times 3, which is 6, times x, which is 6x. Okay, then you say plus, then the last one squared. So the first one squared, then the second value, so the first one squared, then the second value is the multiplication of the first and the multiplication of the second. That's when you just say times 2, then the last one squared. So 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, then you do the same for this. So this is plus the first one squared, so which is what? Y squared. Then you say this, you multiply the 2, y times 5, then times 2. Or should I just say 2 times y times negative 5? Okay, so that would be 2 times 5, which is 10, or rather negative 5, which is negative 10. Then we say plus, what is the square of 5? That would be 25. And by the way, we're not just taking the square of 5, we're taking the square of this entire thing, including the positive. So if there's a negative here, okay, it is going to come here. But here, as we may see, there was no negative. That is why when we're dealing with things here, they were both negative. Rather, they were both positive. Anyway, so that is the idea. Then we say should be equal to what? R squared. Then there's something about r. Remember in the question we've been told saying the length, the radius has a length of 4 units. So meaning this whole time we're supposed to have a 4 squared because r is the radius, of course. So let's simplify this. Rather, let's write this down in an orderly manner. Okay, let's take the y's and put them together. The y's, rather things with squared, let's put them together. So this is x squared. Let's take this y here and move it towards x. So this will be plus y squared. Then we say plus 6x plus, what else do we have? Do we have a y? Yeah, so it's supposed to be a y here. So that's a mistake right there. So this is 10y. Then we say minus 10y. Then we say, we add these up. Okay, we say 9 plus 25. Then we say minus negative 16, because here 4 times 4, or rather 4 squared, that there would be a 16. When we take that 16 to the other side, then we add it up, we're going to have 18. Okay, let me just do everything. So 9 plus 25, that there would be a 34. Then we say should be equal to 4 squared, or rather 16 here. Then when you take this 16 to the other side, that would be a negative what? Negative 16. So this would be negative 16 should be equal to what? 0. When we say 34 minus 16, what we're going to have is 18. So the final answer is x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 10y plus 18 should be equal to 0. So there's our answer. Moving on to the next question. We're being told saying find the center and radius of the circle that has the formula 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 8x minus 7y should be equal to what? Should be equal to 0. Okay, now what we're going to do here is this. We're going to use the method of what's the name of the method? Completing the square method. Okay, some of you may not know it, but I'll just do a simple revision over it, then we'll carry on. So let's group the like terms together first. Okay, so what we're going to have then is 2x squared minus 8x plus 2y squared minus 7y should be equal to what? Should be equal to 0. Then you say divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2. We cancel this out, we cancel this out. So this here is x squared minus 2 into itself, 1, 2 into 8, that there is a 4x. Then there are 2 into 2, that would be a 1, so that's a y squared minus 7 over 2. Let's leave that as it is, should be equal to 0. Okay, so now let's do a simple revision under completing the square method, because that's where we've reached. Okay, say you've got x squared minus 4x should be equal to 0. Okay, which is this right here. This is just more of a revision of how to do completing the square method. What you're going to do here is this. Okay, you're going to take this value here. Okay, you write it as it is. You say x, then you say minus, then you say 4x, then you leave a space here. Okay, so you say plus, you leave a space here. Okay, yeah, actually, yeah, just that, you leave a space. Okay, should be equal to 0. Then whatever it is that you're going to fill in this space is this. You're going to say half of this. Oh, by the way, this is supposed to be squared. Okay, so yeah, you're going to take half of 4, which is what? 2, and then you square it. But when you do, you add both sides. Okay, why are we doing this? It's because we want to maintain the same thing. Say we've got 5 should be equal to 5, but this is the same. Is 5 equal to 5? Of course they are. But what if we say divided by 2 divided by 2? Are these still the same? They still are. Okay, because whatever it is that we've done on one side, we've done on the left as well. So in a similar way, if we're going to add something there, we should add it on the other side as well. So let's add a, so what we're going to add here is half of 4, which is 2. Then we'll square it. So this is 2 squared, meaning we'll do the same here. So that's 0 plus 2 squared, which is just 2 squared. Okay, then let's just simplify this. So this is x squared minus 4x plus 2 squared. Okay, should be equal to 2 squared on the other side. Now if you pay close attention to this, okay, this is just, take note of this. What you're now going to do here is get the first one, then you say minus, then you get the last one. Okay, this here is the same as, hold on, it's the same as x minus 2 squared. How? Because if you have this, you say the first one squared, which is this, then the second term, because it's a minus, you will add a minus, then the second term, which is this, will be 4 times negative 2, then we multiply it by what? By 2. Remember, we said 2 times the multiplication of these two, which is negative 4x. Then we say the last one squared. Not just 2, but negative 2 squared. Okay? Yeah. So this whole thing here has been simplified to what? To this. Okay? Then we say it should be equal to what? 2 squared, which is a 4. Okay? So doing what we've done here, we just do the same, but this time for y. Okay, this here. So let's do the same thing. So here, let me just zoom in there. So here we've got y squared should be equal to what? 7, rather, y squared minus 7 over 2 should be equal to what? 7 over 2y should be equal to 0. So what we're going to do is take the first one squared, then we say minus 7 over 2y, then we say plus, then we take this last one, then we square it. Rather, oh sorry, so that's an accident right there. So we leave a space here. Yeah, should be equal to what? 0. Then what we're going to fill in this space here is half of what's where in the middle. Okay, it's half of what's in the middle. So what is in the middle here? It is 7 over 2. Then what is half of 7 over 2? We just say 7 over 2. Let me just do it separately at the top there. So we've got 7 over 2 divided by what? By 2. Okay, when it changes to multiplication, this the one of them will switch. Okay, yeah, when it changes to multiplication, let's take this one. That's the one that will switch. So this will be 7 over 2 times 1 over 2. Okay, yeah, so it has switched. So when we multiply 7 times 1, that there would be a 7, and 2 times 2, that would be a 4. So half of 7 over 2, or half of what's in the middle, is what? 7 over 4. So let's get that 7 over 4 and put it in our blank space right there. Okay, so that would be 7 over 4. Then we square it. Okay, and because we've added something on the left, okay, which is this is what we've added, the whole of 7 over 4 squared. Let's do the same and add it on the right. So we say plus 7 over 4 squared. 7 over 4 squared. Yeah, So we'll say y squared minus 7 over 4, so rather 7 over 2, y plus, you don't evaluate this, okay, leave it as it is. So this would be 7 over 4 squared. Leave it as a squared, of course, okay. We put that demarcation there. Should be equal to, what is 7 times 7? That's a 49. Then what's 4 times 4? That's 16, okay. Then what we're going to do here is this. Let's simplify this. Again, when we look at this, what are we seeing? We're seeing y squared, we're seeing some value in the middle, and we're seeing half of this value in the middle. Then it is squared. Okay, so this can just be simplified by getting the first one minus, because there's a minus, the last one. Then we just put them in parentheses and then square them. So this would be y squared, y minus 7 over 4, then we square it. Should be equal to 49 over 16. Okay, so this is what we did for x, and it is also what we did for y. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just combine them. So let's say we just add them up. So we say x minus 2 squared plus y minus 7 over 4, then we square them, should be equal to what? 49 over 16 plus 4. Okay, so let's add what's on the left, rather let's simplify what's on the left. Okay, so yeah, rewriting everything on the right first, this would be x squared minus 2, sorry, this would be x minus 2 squared plus y minus 7 over 4 squared should be equal to, let's take the common denominator here. So this is over 1, then you say over, what is common between these two? It would be a 16. Okay, that's 16, then you say 16 into itself, that is a 1. Okay, then 1 times 49, that's a 49. Okay, then we say 1 into 16. Okay, that is 16. So 16 times 4, 64. So that's 64 right there. Then this, again, just rewriting everything, this would be x minus 2 squared plus y minus 7 over 4 squared should be equal to that plus 49 plus 64, that there would be 113 over 16. Okay, so this here is our equation. So this here is r squared. In other words, it has been, resolved. Okay, so the question told us to find the center. Okay, remember, according to the equation, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared should be equal to, of course, this. Okay, should be equal to r squared. So meaning this here is located where we take this and we equate it to 0. So that would be x minus 2 should be equal to 0. Then this is x equals to what? 2. Okay, then we also take y minus 7 over 4, we equate it to 0. So that would be y minus 7 over 4 should be equal to 0. Then we solve for y. Okay, so this would then be y is equals to what? 7 over 4. So meaning this is located where at some point x comma y, rather h comma k. Okay, h comma k, which is 2 comma 7 over 4. That's where it's located. Then they're telling us to find, what else did they ask us to find? The radius. Okay, so the radius is just not necessarily this whole thing here. In fact, let's say r squared should be equal to 113 over what? 16. So for r, we just take the square root there and the square root there. So we cancel that out, we cancel that out. So r would be equal to this. Okay, that is our answer. So r is this. Sorry. So r specifically is this. Then r squared is just 113 over 16. So let's move on to another example. Actually, not another example. We're moving on to shifted parabolas. Okay. Now remember what we discussed last time. A parabola has got different formulas, and these formulas would depend on the orientation of this. Excuse me. On this, would depend on the orientation of this parabola. So if you have it, facing this way, your equation will be different. Okay, so this is just a quick review. So if it's facing like so, your equation, in fact, before I even start talking about equations, let me bring back my wacky example. If you've got a person, yeah, like so, we know saying that the head is here, okay, meaning by default the hands will be either this side or this side. Okay, yeah, that's the idea. Okay, so in a similar way, if you've got your parabola, say it is x squared should be equal to 4py. Okay, because x is the one that has got the squared, we'll take x as the head, then we'll know saying that the arms will either open this side or this side. Okay, i know I know it's somewhat disturbing, but what's important is that you understand what's going on. If you've got y squared is equals to 4px, okay, then y, because it has a square there, is the head, in quotation marks of course. Then if this is the head of a person, meaning the arms can be like so or like so. Okay, now that there would be our equation, or these rather would be our equations, or it would be x squared is equals to negative 4py, and y squared, okay, y squared is equals to negative 4px. So these are the same and these are the same, except facing different directions. So if I may ask, between A, B, C, and D, which of these do you think caters for this shape? Now, as you may see, which one's the head? The head is in the Y. Okay, so meaning it's either of these two, meaning the arms are this side and this side. Yeah, but as you may see, this, it is facing this orientation, and this is towards which side? The positive. Okay, this is the positive x, not the negative. So meaning this is our answer. So when you're dealing with shifted parabolas, it is pretty much the same. The same formula, except where there's x, we put x minus k, sorry, minus h. This is making a lot of grammatical errors. So x minus h, then we say squared should be equal to what? 4py. And on y we do the same thing, but this time we're adding a k. So that would be 4p. What is our y? Y minus what? Minus k. Okay, pretty much the same as we did, except this time with this in mind. So to know where these are actually located, let us solve for y. So let us solve for x in this case. Okay, we just have to equate it to 0. We do the same thing. So x minus h should be equal to 0. Then we solve for x. So that's x is equals to, this goes to the other side. That becomes positive h. Okay, the same goes for y. We'll say y minus k should be equal to 0. So this here will be y should be equal to what? This k will move to the other side. This will be y minus what? Minus k. So that's just the logic. So let's do some examples. So we're being told, determine the vertex, foci, and directrix, and sketch a graph of the parabola that is given by the equation x squared minus 4x should be equal to 8y minus 28. Okay, now what we first have to do is convert this or rearrange this into the standard equation. Yeah, now for us to do this, let us use completing the square method, what we had done previously. Okay, so the y's are separate from the x. So let's first deal with the x and then we'll go for the y. Okay, actually we can't do the same for the y, because in this case x is the one that's somewhat dominating. It is the head, it is the one having the squared. Now before I even go further, I want you to guess what type of graph this would be, or rather what this graph would look like. Okay, now because x is the one that has a squared, meaning x would be the head, then the graph would either open this side or this side. We don't know that, to figure out later, but then one thing we should know is that it's either of these two. So let's use completing the square method. So we say x squared, then we say minus 4x, then we leave some space here, should be equal to what? 0. Okay, then what we're going to do here, of course, let's add everything this side. I'm just okay for now. Let me not add them to ensure that things don't look complicated. I'll add them back later. So we take half of what's in the middle, then we square it, which is half of 2. Sorry, half of 4, which is 2. So we will say plus 2 squared. Okay, then let's simplify this even further. So we take the first one minus the second one. If there was a positive here, it would be positive. Okay, but as long as there's a negative, we have to add a negative. So we say x minus the last one, okay, which is 2. Then we say squared should be equal to what? 0. So now let's add everything that's remaining. So that would be plus. Oh, another important thing. Whatever it is that we add on the left, we add on the right as well. So what did we add this side? We added a 2 squared. Okay, so that would be plus. What is 2 squared? That would be a 4. Whatever it is we do on the left, we do on the right as well. So this would be 8y minus 28 plus 4. Okay, that's an 8 there. Then there's a plus here, plus 0, which is just, the 0 is just negligible. Okay, so this here is x minus 2 squared should be equal to, what do we have here? Yeah, let's simplify this here. Okay, there's no y squared here for us to simplify it and make it look like so. So this here, what would this look like? Negative 28 plus 4. That there is what? That there is 24. Okay, negative 24 rather. So this here is 8y minus 24. I just simplified this. Okay, then what else do we have here? What else can we do? Let's simplify this even further. Okay, let us factor out, well, what is common here between these two. As we may see, it's an 8. Okay, because 8 plus 8 is 16, then plus 8, that would be a 24. So this here would be x minus 2 squared should be equal to, factoring out the 8 here would be 8. We close brackets, then it would be y minus what? 8 times, how many times? 3? Yeah, 3. Yeah, so 8 times 3, that would give us a 24. So as you may see, we're done. Okay, in rather rearranging this into the equation that we should be familiar with. Okay, and that is to say the standard equation. So this is x minus h squared should be equal to p y minus what? K. Yeah, y minus k. Okay, where p is the focus. This here is where it is located. Let's just simplify it. Okay, so we've been told according to the question what is it they've been looking for. So we've put it into the equation that is standard. Then now let us look at it in a different perspective. Yeah, let us find whatever it is they've been looking for. So they said determine the vertex, focus, and directrix and sketch a graph of the parabola. So like I mentioned in the previous videos, it tends to become very easy for us to do everything should we graph it out. Okay, so this here is your xy plane, and then your p, of course, is where your focus is. Okay, so the focus, as we may see, is located where, rather, in fact, let me not even start there. Let's first find the origin since it's shifted. Yeah, because if we say no, the p is located at 8, what if we start from here, then we move 8 units? We would think as though the p is located here. Okay, then we even do that. That would be wrong. It means it's centered where? At x 0 comma 0, which is the center. Okay, by this time so it's centered at the center. Okay, so what we're going to do is take x minus h and equate it to 0. In this case, it is x minus 2, then we equate it to 0. So this here would be x minus 2 should be equal to 0. Then we just solve for x. So this would be x is equals to what? Positive 2. So that's for x. Let's do the same for y. We say y minus k should be equal to 0, or y minus negative 3. Not necessarily or, but that's the idea. So this is y minus 3 should be equal to what? Should be equal to 0. Then we say y should be equal to, when this 3 goes to the other side, this will be positive 3. So meaning the origin is 2 comma 3. Okay, 2 comma 3 x comma y. That's where it's centered. So meaning when we move 2 units to the right, 1 2 somewhere here, okay, for x, and then 3 units up for y. Okay, that is 1 2 3 somewhere here, meaning that's where our parabola is located, centered. Okay, now remember what is the now so this here is 2. Okay, this here is 3. Okay, this here is 1, this is 1, this here is 2. the P, as we may see, is what? Is 8. Okay. So what do we do now from here? We now move positive 8 for that matter. We now move to the right by 8 units. Now, how did we know we're supposed to move to the right? Actually, it's not even to the right that we're supposed to move. Because if you want, we can move 8 units up, 8 units down, 8 units to the right, 8 units to the left. Which one is actually correct? Remember that head example I talked about. Okay, as you may see, what is having the squared in this equation? It is the x. Okay, this is, let's call this y, let's call this x. Why? Because the standard equation that is not shifted would be x squared should be equal to 4py. Okay, yeah. So how do we know? As we may see, the x is the one that has a squared. Okay, meaning the head is located here and the arms will be either of these sides. Okay, now we know saying that it can either look like so or like so, but how do we know? As we may see, there's a positive here. Okay, it is negative 8 here. As we may, sorry, it is positive 8. Now because it's positive, meaning our parabola will open like so. Okay, now before we even draw the parabola, one thing we need to understand is that, let me just work on this space right here. One thing we need to understand is that if you've got your xy plane here and then your focus is located at some point 4, okay, P is equals to 4, meaning we move 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be located somewhere here. Then how wide this parabola is would be 2p on one side and 2p on the other side. What do I mean by that? If this p is 4, then 2p, or rather 2 times 4 would be what? 8. So meaning we move 8 units to the right and 8 units to the left. Then we draw it like so. Okay? If you didn't get that, kindly just play the video the second time. So, yeah. So let us not focus on first looking at it and then locating the focus, then we begin to draw. No. This has to be 2 times the size of the focus. So in this case, what is our focus? It is located where at point, our P is at, what point is this? Oh, and another important thing which I've forgotten. There's supposed to be a 4 here according to the standard equation, yeah? So there's supposed to be a 4, okay? So to solve for, so this here is where it's located, yeah? Then to solve for P, we'll say 4P should be equal to 8. Why are we saying this? It's because this is equals to this is equals to this, and this is equals to this, okay? So to solve for 4P, rather to solve for P, we just divide both sides by what? By 4. So which is divided by 4, divided by 4, cancel out, we cancel out. We say P should be equal to what? 2. So meaning from the center here where it's located, we move 2 units up. Okay, so this is 3, this would be 4, this would be 5. So meaning 1, 2 there. Okay, that's where our focus is. Now how wide is it? Excuse me, is it? We say let's move to the right by 2p and to the left by 2p. Okay, and what did we find our p to be? We found that our p is what? 2. Okay, so meaning this would be 2 times 2, which is 4. So meaning we will now move 4 to the right. Okay, so that is, so here there's a 3, there's a 4 there, there's a 5, and there's a 6. Let's stop from there. So meaning this here, the p is actually 4, so it's actually 2 from 3. Okay, from 3 here we had to move 2 units up. That's 1 and 2. So now that's where we are as the focus. Now let's move 2 units to the, not just 2 units, 4 units to the left and 4 units to the right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We end by 6 there, and 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 somewhere there, like so. So to now draw it, it will be like this. So that is your focus. So to find the center, okay, which is just this, let's just write everything that we found. Okay, so let's start with the focus, which is this. As you may see, where is it located? It is located at 5 comma what? Actually it's x comma y, so that's 2, comma what, comma 5. Okay, this here is the focus. Then what is the directrix? Remember to discuss the directrix is just the same distance as the focus except the opposite direction. What I mean by that is this: if this here is 5, actually we figured out that it's 2. Okay, from here to here it is 2, so meaning we have to move 2 units down as well to find the directrix. So that's 1, 2, meaning the directrix is located where? At 1. Okay, so we do the same for, so yeah, if it were to be 5, if the focus was somewhere here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, would move downwards -5. So you're not going to put your focus as -5 comma something, but you're going to consider where it ends in the y-axis. Okay, so in this case it ends at what? At 1. So this here is 1, sorry, this here is 1, 2, we move 2 units to at the top, so it is located at +5, the 2 comma +5. Then moving downwards, this would be 1, 2. Okay, so meaning for x that would be 2, and for y that would be negative, that would be +1. So x would be 2, y would be 1. Then to find the vertices, okay, the vertex is just this point right here. Okay, we can just, like I said, now I think I believe rather you've seen just how important it is to actually graph it out. Okay, so the vertex, okay, let's say v, is just where this point is located, or where it is centered at. Okay, that is centered at the point, what point is this? 2 comma 3. Okay, here 2 comma 3. What else did they ask us to find? Actually, that's everything. So let's move on to the next question. So they're telling us find the equation in standard form of a parabola with directrix of -1 and focus of 3, 2. Okay, then hence sketch its graph. So that's the first one. We'll move on to the second one later. Let's deal with the first one first. So I've been told saying the directrix is at x is equals to -1. So again, let's first think of sketching, because it will be easier that way. Let's look at the focus. Excuse me, the focus. So the focus is at 3, 2, according to what the question says. So 3, let's move 3 units to the right. So it's 1, 2, 3, that's there, 2. So moving upwards by 2 units, that's 1, 2. So it is located there. Okay, that's where our focus is. Then according to what we've been told, so let me just write this down. So that's 3, 2, is 1, 2. Then according to what they've told us, the directrix is that x is equals to negative what? -1. So here, -1. Okay, let me just redraw this. So let me just draw a line here. Okay, now remember, according to what we discussed, okay, let me just do a quick revision here. If your focus is at p is equals to 2, okay, that is to say for y, it is located here, +2, just 1, 2. Okay, then meaning your directrix is located -2 units downwards from the vertex. Okay, meaning this is -2, meaning the vertex is located in the center of these two. So meaning all that we have to do is add 2 and -2, then we divide it by what? By 2. Why are we doing so? Because it is located where? In the middle. In the middle, that's half. Okay, so say if this was 20, okay, say it was 20 units upwards, 1, 2, 3, and up until 20, then meaning if it was centered here, we have to move 20 units down, but negative. Okay, that would be -20 somewhere here. Then we just divide it by 2, so it would be a 10 and a 10. Okay, then if say we didn't start from the origin, but we started somewhere at maybe here, okay, maybe that's where the vertex was, then if we're moving up by 5 units, this here is at 1, then this here is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If I rather, let me just say 3 units. Okay, actually let's just go with the same 5 or 4. Let's just go with 4 units. So meaning this is the vertex, yeah, then we move up by 4 units. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where our focus is here. We've moved up by 4 units. Meaning to find the directrix, I'm going to move downwards by how many units? 4. So that's 1 at 0, 2 at -1, 3 at -2, and 4 at negative what? -3. Okay? So what if you didn't know that this was where the vertex was? All you have to do is add the two together. That's 5 and -3. Then we tend to divide it by what? By 2. So in other words, we're just finding half of this entire length. So that's 5. Okay? Then we say plus -3. Then we say divided by 2. So 5 plus -3, that just there would be 5 minus 3 over 2, which is what? What is 5 minus 3? That's a 2 over 2, which is what? 1, which is this. Okay? So in a similar way, with this question, okay, what we know is that the vertex is where the vertex is found in the middle of your what? Your focus and your directrix. Okay? So this here is your focus. This here is your directrix. This here is the middle. Okay? So we'll say -1 as the directrix plus, this here is a 2 there, plus 3 divided by what? By 2. So this here will be a 3, -1 plus 3, that is just a 2 divided by 2, which is equals to what? A 1. So meaning this is centered where? At 1. That's where the vertex is. Okay? So now, remember this other principle that we talked about. Okay? We explained, or rather we learned, let me just delete that to ensure that the screen looks a bit smooth and neat. So it is located at 1 here. That's where the vertex is. This is the focus. So we discussed again saying, no, let me use this area here. So we discussed saying that if the distance is 2 from the origin, or rather from the vertex, it can't be the origin specifically, but from the origin up until where the focus is, if the distance is 2, okay, say 1, 2, then meaning how wide it will be 2 times p. In this case, p is 2. Okay, in fact, let me just, to make it less confusing, let me take this as 3. Okay, so meaning this distance here, how wide it would be 2 times 3, or rather 2 times p, because p is 3. Okay, which should be a 6. So meaning we're going to move 6 units to the right, which is there, and 6 units to the left, which is there. Then we draw it like that. Okay, so in this case, as we may see, the p in this case would be 1, 2. Okay, the p is not necessarily where it's located at the number line, but p is the number itself. What do I mean by that? Let's see. Okay, what I mean by that is our p in this case would be 2. Okay, why? Because we're moving 2 units from the vertex. The vertex is moved. So if it comes like so, if your conic section comes like this here is your vertex. Okay, so meaning we're going to move 2 units to the right. So that's 1, 2. Meaning your p is 2, not 3. 3 is just where p is located at. I believe you get that. So moving to the right, that's a p. Okay, now let's make it wide. But how wide is it going to be? Remember, it is going to be as wide as 2p at the top there and 2p at the bottom. Now, how do we know that's opening like this? Because always, this here is your focus, it's going to open like this. If your focus was here, it was going to open like this. If your focus was here, it was going to open like that. Okay? Yeah. Besides, the directrix is located here. So meaning by default, the opposite side would be where the conic section is opening from. So, what is our p? Our p we said is 2, not necessarily 3, because we only moved 2 units to the right. So if our p is 2, then how wide it would be 2p and 2p. Okay, so meaning 2 times p. What is p? Again, it is just 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that would be 2 times 2, which is what? 4. Meaning, starting from here, okay, which is the focus, we're going to move 2 units at the top and 2 units at the bottom. So this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Okay, so starting from here, let's move 2 units up. So that would be 3 and 4, meaning we end there. Then let's move 2 units downwards, okay, which is 1 and 0. So meaning it is here. So, oh, hold on. No, I've made a mistake. It is 2p, okay, or rather 2 times 2, which is supposed to be a 4, okay. For the last time, I don't know if you may have gotten this, but let me just finish up and then I'll revise. So it is 2p, yeah, so meaning 2 times 4, because our p is what? 2. How is p 2? We start from here, then we move 1 2, okay. So it is 4, so meaning we move 4 units up. So that is 1 2 3 4. So this is 5, this is 6. So it's 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4. We end there. Then we also move 4 units downwards. So that's -1 0 1 -2, meaning we stop at -2 there. So meaning our conic section will look something like this. So just to give a summary of this, your p in this case is not 3, okay. Your p is how many units you've moved starting from the vertex. How many units did we move? We started from here, which was 1, okay. We moved here, which was at 2. Then we moved here, this was 3. So meaning our p is 2 because we only moved 2 steps to the right. Then this is just 2 times p and 2 times p. So what is it that they were looking for? According to the question, they said find the equation in standard form. Oh, the equation, yeah. So to write down this equation in standard form, okay. So we've drawn everything, but now let's write down the equation in standard form. As we may see, I want you to look at this, yeah. As you may see, okay, what does this look like? Or rather, what is the head according to those examples I had given? If your head is like this, your arms are expected to be this side. Or let me just make it more logical. This side or this side, okay. That's why your hands are going to be. So in a similar way, yeah, so according to what we discussed, what is it going to be? So this would be a y squared should be equal to what? 4px, okay. Yeah, so remember these are conic sections that are what? Shifted. So this would be y minus k. Hold on, let me just zoom in a little bit. This would be y minus k squared should be equal to 4p x minus h squared. That's our x there, okay. Then what we're now going to do here is this. Let us look at, because x, k and h are where they're centered, okay. So where is this conic section specifically centered? It is centered at 1 comma what comma 2. So meaning this here is your h, this here is your k. Let's just substitute them directly in our equation. So this here will be y minus what is our h. So what is our k? It is 2 in this case, squared. Should be equal to 4p. Okay, we do that. What is our x in this case? Our x is 1. So we say x minus 1 minus 1 squared. Okay, then let us simplify this. What about p here? What are we going to put here? We need to change something. We figured out saying that our p is equals to what? 2. Why is p 2? It's because we had to move 2 units to the right. So that's 1. Let me use a different color. That's 1 2 steps. Okay, so meanwhile this p was supposed to put what? 2. So meaning our final equation would look like so: y minus 2 squared should be equal to 4p, then 4, because we said p is 2, 4 times 2 x minus 1 squared. So we say y minus 2 squared should be equal to 4 times 2, that's an 8, x minus 1. Oh, there isn't any squared here. Okay, there shouldn't be any squared. It only has to be on 1. So here is a squared, there's no squared there. And I believe you know why I use this. I did explain the head example. Okay, if your head is here, your hands will be here. So if your head is here, your hands will be here. Yeah, so I think you get the logic behind that example. So yeah, this here is a standard equation which they've been looking for, and we're done. So if you want to find the focus is just, you just find the coordinates, you plot them, x comma y, or rather the focus in this case would be 1 comma, no, that's not the focus, that's the vertex. The vertex in this case would be 1 comma negative 2, and the vertex in this case is where it's originated or centered at. Then the focus here would be, what is the focus there? That's 3 comma 2. Okay, then what else? The directrix, what is the directrix here? The directrix is just negative 1 comma 0, which is just this here. Okay, rather just negative 1. And then doing this second example, we're being told, saying, what is this saying? Yeah, its focus is at x. They're telling us, find the equation in standard form of the parabola with its focus at negative 4 comma 1, and the equation of the directrix is x is equals to 5. Okay, so this question is the same as the one we're just from solving right now, but for the sake of, so I'm kindly asking if you may just pause it, and then you attempt to pause the video and attempt to solve it. Then when you're done, okay, tell you what, let me just solve it so that you should be able to get familiar with it, because the more you repeat, the better. So we've been told, saying that let's first graph, okay, as usual. So we've been told, saying the focus is at negative 4 comma 1. So meaning we have to move 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left. So negative 4 comma positive 1, that's for y. Okay, that's where the focus is. Now we don't know its orientation. Now we don't know if it's like so, we don't know if it's like this. However it is, we don't know. But then we've been told, saying the directrix, because where the focus and directrix would be, that would be our guide. Excuse me, that would be our guide. Say here's your xy plane, and then your focus is here, and then your directrix is here. Then you should know, saying that the vertex is in the middle, and then the conic section is opening like this towards the focus. Okay, should you know that, okay, your focus is there, okay, yeah, focus is there, and your directrix is somewhere here, just find the center between these two, and then open it towards the focus. So the directrix will help us out. It is located at positive 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's find half of these two. So we just add the 2 and then divide them by 2. So negative 4 plus 5 divided by 2, so that is half. Sorry, so that is 1 over 2. Okay, negative 4 plus 5, that's a 1. So what is half? So this here is 1, and then half is somewhere here, so meaning that's where our vertex is. So meaning our vertex is located, not necessarily, by the way, this here, let me just put it in red. This here isn't red. Yeah. So this here is the directrix, okay, by 5. Then the center or the vertex is somewhere there. It is at half here, okay? Then we've been told, saying the focus is not just at 4, but at 4 comma what? Comma 1. Okay? So meaning at the top here. Meaning the same goes for our vertex, because they have to be in the same line. The line is here. Okay? So meaning it is located at half, comma what? Comma 1. Meaning somewhere here. Okay? So now what is the distance from here to here? It is half plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Half plus 4. Okay, that there is our distance. Meaning the same goes for this side. Okay, so that would be half plus what? Half plus 4. So that's 1, 2, 3. Hold on. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 plus half. Okay, yeah. So meaning the vertex for V would be 1 over 2 comma 1. Okay, then here the directrix, sorry, the focus, okay, which is this, would be located at -4, comma what, comma 2. Though P is not necessarily -4, but P is what? What's this? P is 4 plus half. I don't know if you get that. The directrix is 4 plus half to the positive. The focus is 4 plus half to the negative. Okay? But their locations are, this is -4, comma 1, and this is +5, comma 1. Okay? Because this is when we move 5 units to the right, that's 5, and then 1 unit up, meaning here. Okay? What else? Yeah, so now let's knowing very well that okay, it is 4 plus half. Let me just say 4 plus 1 over 2. Okay, let's simplify this. 4 plus 1 over 2. So the common denominator there is 2. 1 into 2, that's 2. 2 times 4, that's an 8. Plus 2 into 2, 1. 1 times 1, 1. So 8 plus 1, that's a 9 over 2. Okay, so in other words, it is 9 divided by what? By 2. Starting from here. So meaning, if our P is 9 over 2 here, meaning our 2P and 2P would be 2 times 9 over 2. Okay, which is what? 18 over 2, which is 9. So meaning we're going to move 9 units upwards and 9 units downwards. Not necessarily that you have to go up and then where you find y, you locate it and then you put it there. Then you also find where you find -9. No. You start from here, then you start moving up. Okay, in this case it is going to reach by 10 because it started at 1 here, it didn't start at 0. Okay, so meaning it is going to be 10. So meaning here, then meaning when we move downwards by 9 units, that is to say like so. If you want, you can just please take time to just prove this or just write it neatly, but we're going to reach by what? 8. Okay, why? Because here it started not at 0 here, not at 0 here, but here. Okay, at 1. So meaning 1 2 3 4 5 going down would give us 8. Should we count 9? Okay, so meaning our conic section would open like so. Now what would the equation look like? This is the graph. Okay, so to find how the equation will look like, let's write this down. Let's first write down the formula. Now before we do, okay, let's look at this. Where would the head be? In the y. Okay, I've said the example so many times. The head is here, your hands will be either of the sides. Now as you may see, the hand is towards the left, this here. Okay, it's opening towards the left. So meaning our equation would be y squared should be equal to 4px. But let's look at this y. Okay, actually not, let's look at it, but this is what? A shifted conic section. So this is y minus what? H, sorry, y minus k squared should be equal to 4p x minus what? K, x minus h, sorry. So this is it. Now let's substitute what we have. Where is it centered at? Here. It's centered at half, comma 1. So that's half 1 over 2, comma 1. So that's h, comma k. So y minus, what is our k? It is 1 squared should be equal to 4p x minus, what is our h? Our h is 1 over 2. Okay, we're not done yet because we have to put the right p. So we're not going to put the location of p, but what p is. What I mean by that is, we know that p is here at -4. But -4 isn't p. -4 is the location of p. I believe you understand that by now. So, starting from where? From here, which is at half, going to the right, it is half plus 4. Because it is located at half here. Okay, we're starting from half, going to the right. So that is half plus what? Plus 4, which is what's that we found? What is half plus 4? But anyway, I think you get the idea. Okay, so that's p. Okay, let me just say this. 4 plus 1 over 2. And this is 2. 1 into 2, that's an 8, plus 2 there, 1, that's 9 over 2 here. So meaning our P is equals to 9 over 2, which is half, 4 plus half. So where is P, let's add 4 plus half. So this here will be y squared minus 1 squared should be equal to 4. What is our P? 9 over 2. Then we say x minus what? 1 over 2. Okay, let's simplify this even further. This here is y squared. Sorry, the squared isn't even supposed to be there. So it's supposed to be here. So this here will be y minus 1 squared should be equal to, what is 4 times 9? That's 36. So that's 36 divided by 2, which of course can be simplified. 3 in here, that's a 1. So that's a 1, remainder 1. So that's 1, remainder 1. Then 3 into 16, that's 2 into 16. Well, what is 2 into 16? That's an 8. So our answer is what? 18 there. Okay, so we're going to put 18 here. Okay, we're just simplifying this. So this will just be 18. And we say x minus what? 1 over 2. So this should be equal to, actually, yeah, this is it. We're done. This is our equation, and those values are our final answer. So just write down the vertex and whatnot, where it is located, just equate this to 0, and then solve for y. Okay, so y is equals to 1. Sorry, y minus 1 should be equal to 0. So it is located at what? 1. What about this? This would be x is equals to, x minus 1 over 2 should be equal to 0. So let's solve for x. So this is x is equals to what? Half. Okay, so it is centered at x comma y, at h comma k. Okay, which is y comma 1 over 2 comma 1 h k x y. Okay, the vertex, it is just where it is located. The directrix is here, okay, at 5 comma 1. The focus is at negative 4 comma 1. Okay, but p, not necessarily the focus, but p, the focus is just where it is located. Then p, which is the focus, okay, there's a difference where something is located, okay, where a ball is and the ball itself. Okay, the p, which is the ball, is half plus 4. Okay, but 4 is negative 4 rather, is where it is located. So I'm done. Next, moving on to the next topic. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about shifted ellipse and shifted hyperbola. So as usual, don't forget to subscribe. It's free, and just share this video to your friends.